I knew at 6. Like, I knew that I would be rich one day. I wake up every day and I choose gratitude. Most people don't realize that we are a vibrational frequency. I wanted to go help people learn to sell and close because I changed some lives financially.
Yeah, 50 million rich? Is 20 million rich? Welcome back to Exit Rich Home Services with Lance Bachmann. Today I have a special guest, good friend of mine, Brad Lea here. We're actually in the Dropping Bomb studio. Brad, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me use your studio to interview you. I appreciate it. Brad, tell everybody who you are real fast. You're the founder of Lightspeed. Why don't you tell everybody what Lightspeed does and tell them what you do? And then we're going to talk about your podcast and everything else.
Lightspeed is a company, one of my companies, which is ultimately a web-based training technology. But ultimately, we're a sales organization. We're a personal development organization.
I like to hear that, Brad. So you grew up in Oregon. You left home when you were 16. You're very successful. Your podcast is probably top 50 in the country right now?
I keep hearing it's pretty pretty popular.
You got millions of followers on social media from every channel. You have a beautiful office space here. I mean, everything here is top notch. You leave home. Did you ever think at 16 you'd be sitting here? Because you never deny that you grew up okay. You didn't grow up poor. You grew up like kind of middle class, correct?
Low to middle class. Blue collar for sure. I mean, again, we always had food.
Did you think you'd be sitting here? You got nice cars. You're a millionaire.
I would say yes.
Okay, tell me why. I'd love to hear this.
Well, because I always knew.
At 16, you knew? You left home with...
I knew at 6.
Tell me...
Like, I knew that I would be rich one day.
Okay, and what's your definition of rich? Because this is that weird. Well, no, I mean, listen. Tell me what your definition of rich is.
Well, I'm not there yet, but my definition of rich is a little more than I thought it was when I was young, but I used to say a millionaire, and a million isn't rich.
You're not rich or a millionaire.
No, but when I was thinking millionaire, I thought rich, you got the cars you wanted and you could live in the house you wanted and eat what you want and wear what you want and go where you want. Do I think 50 million is rich? Yeah.
Yeah, 50 million is rich. So
sure.
So 100 million is 20 million rich?
I think so.
All right. So once you get that 20 million mark is where you say, hey, I'm going to be okay. That's rich.
Well, it depends on what's your lifestyle. I mean, 10 million could be rich. 5 million could be rich. Depends on your lifestyle. My lifestyle, I'm going to need a little more than that, but only because I'm so eccentric. I like buying things. I am weird.
Like, you're like a lot of Americans. You like buying shit.
Well, I just like decadence. You know what I mean? Like these shirts, you don't know, but this is like a Giorgio Armani. They're like not ridiculously expensive, but they just feel.
How much does a shirt like that go for? $100?
500.
How much?
500.
Holy shit. Man, I thought I was springing big dollars on the Johnny O Polo. Jesus Lord.
No, but again, I mean, like, to me, they feel different. I don't care what they cost. If these shirts were $3, I'd buy them.
You like the experience.
It's just nice shit usually has a price tag, and I want nice stuff. I want nice cars. I want nice homes. I want nice restaurants. I want upscale things.
I mean, you got a beautiful office.
I like nice shit.
Oh, well, your office makes a statement. Like, it's funny you say that because Bill walked in, my CEO, was like, man, this thing makes a statement. I said, well, that's what he wants, to make a statement.
100%.
I'm like,
nobody wants to follow a loser.
Well, I agree with you. Well, losers want to follow losers.
That's why I said nobody wants to follow a loser.
Yeah, losers want to follow losers. So Lightspeed's more than a train. I mean, you've had some of the biggest names on Lightspeed. Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, some other people. It's a growing company. Is that your primary company? Because you also own financial companies. I know you own some other companies also. You do a lot of training for people, helping people out with their brands. And You actually do sales coaching. You have your own little sales coaching group that you actually, people who graduate, you actually get a job with you and you try and help them out or you try and place them, correct?
Yeah.
Can you talk to me first about like, you own multiple companies. Is it hard to run all these companies?
No, I have people that run each one.
And do they report to you directly? Do they give you a breakdown of what's going on, or you just manage straight from the P&L?
They technically report to me, but I'm never insistent upon the reporting.
Your personality.
Well, it's because I'm pretty comfortable.
But you're making money.
Yeah,
Always.
of course I'm making money.
You're,
How do you have a business that doesn't make money?
a lot of people do have businesses.
Well, then you shut those ones down or you turn it around because you can't have a business that doesn't make money. That's called a suck. That's called a drain. That's how you get rid of money, not make it. I like to make it.
What's your most profitable business? Lightspeed?
No.
Wow, that's which one's your most profitable?
Probably one that's called Real Training and or dropping bombs. My podcast is doing between 6 and 10 million a year, and it's mostly margin.
Oh, it's all margin. I mean,
Mostly. I got people to pay.
Yeah.
A lovely Chantil that runs around here, she I got to pay her, and I got to pay some media people, and you got to buy equipment, and you have to have the flat screens to do it, and people that film it. But yeah, mostly margin.
mostly margin on that. And what's the real training?
Real training is what you mentioned. I mean, I put together a program where I teach people the right mindset, skill sets, and then habits to basically change their life, make them better humans, but ultimately put them in a position where I'd hire them because I have multiple companies and they're all sales organizations at the end of the day. And so I wanted to find a few killers for my organization. And everyone who applied that thought they were killers, they weren't killers. They couldn't sell a freaking, ice cream on a hot day. Like they couldn't close an open face sandwich. And I'm like, guys, I love you, but you're not killers. Well, how do you know? I've been killing it for years. Well, I thought you said the most you ever made was 80 grand. Well, yeah. Well, then you're not killing and you're not a killer. So if you want to be a killer, I'll train you. So then I created the training program for people to go through. So I'll hire them. And then once they're through the system, I guarantee them a job now that they're killers. And then they're in a position to win in life.
What's the success rate? How many people, you have a training course, I'm assuming once a month? A new class once a month?
No, every day.
Every day. And how many people come to class?
Right now, 200 to 300 a month are coming through it.
And how many will actually make it through and graduate?
I would say 90%.
And then how many actually come to you for a job? Because you're not hiring 200 people a month. I mean,
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you are? Really?
Oh, yeah. You need them?
I do. I need some. I actually do.
Dude, I'm producing fire-breathing dragons out of that school.
So you're hiring, are they all getting hired inside your organizations, or do you have a relationship with other organizations? Like, I know I would take, you had them in Pennsylvania, not Pennsylvania now, but if you had some in Pittsburgh or Maryland, and we would definitely take them. Why wouldn't we?
Well, number one, I say you want to work remote, right?
Mhm.
Because, dude, people want freedom nowadays. They're tired of this corporate nonsense and anchored down places. So a lot of them want to work remote. A lot of them want more time freedom with their kids, which you appreciate.
Absolutely.
So I'm talking to those that kind of don't want to have to be locked down. I've got some international,
Okay.
but at the end of the day,
So most is inside salespeople.
dude, listen, the only reason I'm where I'm at today is my ability to sell. Like, period. So I know that if you really want to be successful in life, you're going to get in the position to receive commission. If you're not in the position to receive commission, dude, you're just not heading in the right direction. So when people come to me, I like to keep things simple. I don't want to try to, pretend I'm smart. I'm not that smart. Actually, I am. According to testing, I guess I am smart because I got a good score on my IQ test, but I'm really not that, I'm not book smart.
What was your score on your IQ test?
Depends. The first one was a 151, which is high, and that one stood for a long time until someone didn't believe me, so I went and took one, and it was a 142. So I probably got the 151 on one of those internet ones that didn't really mean anything, and then when I took a real one, it was 142.
So my 76 isn't solid.
No, you got to be more than 76. I was gonna say because like that would be like no wonder you did ride the short bus. 76 is low. I think the average is about 100.
I don't know what mine is.
But I think an IQ is more that you can understand things easier. It doesn't necessarily mean you're extremely book smart. So, because I didn't go to college, I dropped out of high school. I didn't even graduate high school. So, when I was in high school, I was getting tested to go to college, ACT, SATs, things like that, because I dropped out in the 11th grade. So they were starting to, give me those tests, and I was testing at college levels. It's not that I'm, a genius or anything. It's just I understand things quickly. I can look at something and understand things fairly quickly. So, to me, I know that if you want to be successful, you have to be in the position to receive commission.
Can you explain that to people? Because I don't think a lot of people understand that. Because I look at it as if you're getting commission is having your own business inside of a business. Like you're almost entrepreneurial. I get paid on what I sell for the work I do. I don't think people understand. If you just have a set salary, there's no incentive to do it anymore if you're getting paid the same every 2 weeks.
Well, I don't know anybody that's successful that's not selling something.
I agree on that. 500%.
Yeah. So again, so when they come to me, which a lot of them do, I'm like, first thing I need to do is get you in a position to receive commission. Step one. Okay. So I got to train most of them because they think they're killers and they're not. So I set up real training to facilitate all of the people that wanted to be badass and wanted to, work from home and make, a couple $100,000 or more. And I had to set up their training because they came, but only a few were, I was only able to find a few. So that's what real training is that program developed. And the first 3 or 4 or 5 sessions, all we're talking about is, mindset, confidence, self-image, self-worth. You got to change their identity. And then you move on to the sales, closing, communication, personal branding, teach them how to leverage social media to build a personal brand, marketing, relationships, and AI. Because if you don't know those 6 skills, again, you're probably lacking something you need to crush it in nowadays. And then I walk through the habits, where if they just do these habits, man, if you just do the habits, if you just do these habits every day for 90 days, your life changes.
Give it to me.
And as you know, dude, it's your habits that dictate a lot of what's going on in your life. You show me someone with a messed up life, I'll show you somebody with messed up habits. But, like one of the habits, a lot of people don't realize that we get to choose our energy. So when people are in a bad mood or they're fearful or scared or nervous or anxious, they don't realize that that's just a knob. So you get up in the morning and you read a bad email and all of a sudden you're upset for the day. And now all of a sudden you're going to call yourself, and ultimately you chose to be in that frequency, that vibration. So I wake up every day and I choose gratitude. That's a frequency that I like. So most people don't realize that we are a vibrational frequency. You know that, right?
Oh, I say it all the time. You show me a kid that's nervous, I'll show you a dad that's making him nervous before he plays sports. I see it all the time with parents. I'm like, why do you give that energy to your kid? Like,
yeah, so it's energy.
It's
and we choose our energy if we're enlightened and aware. And I am. So that's a habit to get into, is choosing the energy you want to operate in, which 9 times out of 10, I call it heavenly energy and then earthly energy. Earthly is anxiety, greed, fear, doubt, Heavenly, what would you imagine is up there? Kindness, generosity, courage, everything good. So you can operate in that frequency even down here in the earthly energy. So everyone else is operating earthly, you're operating heavenly. Well, what do you think you're doing? you're causing like energy to find you, because like attracts like.
All the time.
So that's a habit that I show people how to get into. Basically just choosing gratitude in the morning, obviously working out, just basic. You don't have to bust your ass. You don't have to have a six pack, but you got to have ethical behavior every morning. You have to progress physically. Hydrate. Most people underestimate the value of hydration. Um, Daily development, reading, because you have to get new information if you expect to change your beliefs, and you have to change your beliefs in order to change your behavior, and you have to change your behavior to change your choices and your actions, and that's what gets your results. So if you want something different, you got to do something different. In order to do it, you have to change your beliefs, because the reason you do what you do is because you believe what you believe.
Do you believe when you start doing these things, you're probably going to change your circle? Do you tell the people you're going to wind up changing your circle?
That, well, again, 100% that happens. But you have to change your beliefs. So just read every day. That's a habit, right? You got to get in that habit. I read every single day. So work out, hydrate, read, develop, get new information. New information is the key. But yeah, I call it weeding the garden. If you don't weed your garden, what happens? Well, the weeds pop up, and the stuff you're trying to get to grow gets less nutrients and doesn't grow very good fruit. Same thing happens. You get the wrong people around you, you're screwed. So every week you got to get in the habit of weeding the garden, eliminating people out of your surrounding.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business, and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to. You said something that every person you know that's successful is selling something. I agree with you on that. I think politicians are scumbags, but they're selling constantly if you listen to them, right?
100%.
Um, every CEO, if they're a good CEO, knows how to communicate, knows how to share their vision, knows how to sell, get people to follow them. Do you believe that a company's just a company? I hear people will say, I'm the best roofer, or I'm the best trainer, or I'm the best visual person. Do you believe they're the people that win the race, or do you believe the best person with the sales mind of, I'm going to build the best sales organization wins the race? Meaning when I say win the race, grow revenue, grow profit, and probably have a company that you could sell.
Well, best known always outperforms best. So best known is better than best.
Because you're a big brand guy. You'll hear people say, Brad, I'm sure you hear this all the time, well, I don't like being on social media. I don't like being in front of a camera, right? People say, well, no one likes being in front of a camera when you first start. Can you talk about getting through that? Because you live on camera now. Like when you first did it, you couldn't have been jumping up and down, like, I'm going to be on camera. Then
Yeah, I was
more comfortable with it.
I was fairly comfortable because I always wanted to be a movie star, and I always wanted to be the center of attention. Doesn't bother me.
All right, so what do you do with people? I can tell you this. I wasn't comfortable at first being on camera.
Well, that's because you're too worried about what everyone else thinks.
No, I just wasn't comfortable I wasn't sure what it was. Now that I have direction.
Well,
what it
I
is.
believe people don't want to be on camera because they're fearful of what everyone's going to think.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, you can't get to my level and care what people think.
And why would you care if you're on camera?
Now, 8 years ago, when I first started. I might have thought back then, honestly.
Yeah, well, most people I talk to, that's their problem.
That's probably, you know what? The same reason why I never used to go speaking at big events when people would ask me. I'd be, yeah, nah, I probably did. And then at the vertical track, my whole life changed. And then when you start hanging around successful people, you start to realize you cannot worry what people think, or you'll be in a cage the rest of your life.
Yeah. Look up the word allodoxophobia.
What's that mean?
The fear of other people's opinion.
I'm assuming it cripples you because it has to, right?
Well, I think we all have it in some form. The question is how much? There are people that will not speak in front of a group And if you really break down why, is because they're so worried about what they're all going to think. Am I going to look stupid? I'm so embarrassing. How embarrassing? What if I sound stupid? What if I look stupid? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I have a booger in my nose?
Yeah.
What if my zipper's undone? Like they're just imagining all of these fearful things, and it's all based on what other people will think of them. I don't have that because one day I realized you can't make everyone happy. And that I think anyone logically, if they're paying attention, will agree. So if logically you can't make everyone happy, well, then what's the alternative? Well, you have to choose. So I'm like, one day I'm like, okay, so let me choose. And then I started to think, well, do I want to make these people happy or those people happy? And then I noticed my name's not on this list. And as soon as I imagined my name on that list, it all became clear as a bell. I'm like, that's who I should be worried about making happy because I know him. Like, that's the dude I like the best. That's the guy that deserves the best. And if I really care about everybody else, making him first will make me the best version for everyone else anyway. So I'm like, I'm going with me. So then I started making me happy. And guess what? Now I don't care what an audience thinks. If they don't like what I'm saying, but I do, too damn bad.
Here's a question for you. You started your career in sales. You clearly can sell. You're a great communicator. I've listened to hundreds of your podcasts. Seldomly I've ever seen you argue with people. You'll keep to your opinion, but you're not confrontational unless someone comes at you. You're very politically correct, which I do appreciate. I think more people should be like you instead of the ignorant, rude, screaming, yelling, right? But you understand sales well. Why do you think so many organizations don't invest in salespeople and don't look at themselves as sales companies? 'Cause that's something I'm constantly fighting with people about. I'm like, you have to train your salespeople to sell. Like, you don't have the killers you think you are. A guy selling 600, 700,000, $800,000 in roofs a year or HVAC is not a killer. Can you talk about that? Why people don't invest in training? Because you do. Look at your training center here.
Well, I think people invest in training. The problem is they're not training, they're exposing. They're
Explain that to me.
they're mistaking exposure for training. Training requires four things. Good content, right? You have to know the right way to do it in the first place. So you have to have the good content. Then you have to have repetition, right? Without repetition, that's not training. Then you have to have practice, which most of them are not designing their training with practice. They're just designing the good content once, usually. You heard me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go. You're good. You're trained. Check. You're not trained. You're exposed to some good information. There's no practice and there's no accountability. So in order for it to have real effect, you have to have good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. And most companies, they just have good content, if that. There's no repetition, there's no practice, and there's no accountability. That's what Lightspeed does. It's a software that does that easily for people.
Explain that to me. How does Lightspeed work? Walk me through the process. I'm a roofing company. I'm an HVAC company. You
I
know,
take your good content, which
Mhm.
you already have 9 times out of 10, whether it's documented or not, or in someone's head. We take it out of that, we create the good content. Then we put it on Lightspeed, which is a web-based, on-demand, interactive video training technology that allows you to basically emulate what you would have said in real life, but now the system can deliver it a million times to a million people in a million languages. Test them, make sure that they understand it. Because again, if I give you some information, but I don't test to see if you fully understood it, I say, you understand? And you go like this, and I go, oh, okay. And I just move on. You might have just said this so you could get to lunch. So you have to test people, right? Give them the ability to practice. So we have AI role plays and things built in to practice what they're learning. And then, of course, everything's being tracked, measured, and monitored. So if a roofing company, you know, wants to scale and exit, they're going to need a training system. They're going to
100%.
need SOPs documented. Well, for $300 a month, Lightspeed basically will license you a technology that you just leverage and use and create a huge interactive world-class training system rather than an exposure system. And then your valuation goes up. Even people with a training program, even if it's documented, not on Lightspeed, just there's the training system, you know, are valued higher than ones that everything's in
Oh, without a doubt.
the people's head.
People don't want to. First of all, people don't want to buy companies where everything's in someone's head.
Yeah.
They're not taking that risk. It's not going to happen. What happens if you die? What happens if I sign the closing documents? You're driving to the airport, celebrate your wife, and you get in a car accident and die.
Yeah.
Well, I just bought, just went to waste. Yeah.
Yeah. So training systems are important. And by the way, you said, is that my biggest company? It's doing, let's say 20. Well, I won't talk about what it's doing, but it's my oldest company, meaning it's the first one that actually worked. You know what I mean? So I started it in 1999 accidentally. I wanted to go help people learn to sell and close because I changed some lives financially just helping people close. So I thought, man, this is fun. I like the way this feels. I'm going to quit my job and go start a training company. And I went out on the road to start training people. And I couldn't replicate the same thing as I used to be able to do when I worked at this company, which was I could drive through a window. If you were cool, I'd give you a job within 3 months, dude, you're making 20 grand a month. And they're like, you know, I just watched lives change and I could just do it like this. I was so good at it. So I thought, man, I'm going to start a business and just do this for a living. And then it didn't work and I couldn't figure out why. And that's when I realized all I was doing when I started my own business was showing up, delivering the content and leaving. There was no repetition, there was no practice, and there was no accountability. So I thought, man, I got to invent a software to do this because this new thing out, the internet, was like, man, if I could just take the information that I'm delivering, put it online so they can go through it with repetition, I can test them and I can track them and I can practice with them and whatnot, then it would work. So I built the first version of Lightspeed in 2000. I didn't. I had it built. I had to close the company to actually build it for me. And then it started working. And then I ran out on the road and it started, you know, working. And then I ran into, oh, we use Zig Ziglar and we use Brian Tracy and, you know, we use Grant Cardone and all these other people. Well, I didn't have a big name. I had to sit there and close them on I'm the best. Well, at some point, I was having a little difficulty and I asked them, so if that person was on here, would you buy it? Because I was showing them the technology.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, yeah, if that was like Grant, for example, we'd buy it. And I said, interesting. And as soon as they told me if it was theirs, they'd buy it, I said, hold on. And I went and just started closing the people that were teaching them to close. So I went and started closing Zig Ziglar and Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins and all the big names. If you told me someone that you loved, I'm going to go close that person on using this technology because they're doing it the old-fashioned way, which isn't effective. And that's what companies are doing.
So you went out there and you landed Grant because, I mean, you talked about it before.
I closed his ass, his ass.
You closed him. And then as you were growing, I guess after what, a few years of being on Lightspeed, he changed to, I just gonna say it's just business, right? You just said,
Yeah, you're listening to too much JT Fox.
that's all bullshit.
No, dude, listen.
I mean, I don't care. My thing is this is, you never said a bad word about Grant. I never said a bad word about Grant. He's actually only been nice to me, so I can't say a bad word about him.
Yeah.
Bro.
Well, he wanted to renegotiate, which I thought at the time definitely not cool because I thought we were buddies. You know, and I thought I'm more relational. Like I wouldn't like I'd rather be besties and make 5 million than not be besties and make 8 million.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm very similar to you.
Yeah, so
I'm
like
with you on that.
he's the opposite. Like he'd rather make 8 million and not be your bestie.
But yeah, there's no problem telling people that.
Yeah,
He tells people that every day on social media.
yeah. So again, at the end of the day, you know, he wanted to renegotiate. JT says he's trying to screw you. He screwed you. You had a deal. Well, again, yeah, we had a deal, and he honored the deal for a while. And then at one point, he didn't want to honor the deal. Well, dude, it wasn't a lifetime commitment. Like he's an individual.
Deals change, things change, and that's where people don't understand. They take it personal. Like,
Yeah, so
change all the time.
yeah, so he wanted to renegotiate. So we renegotiated. He's still on Lightspeed. A lot of people think that's when you guys broke up. We didn't break up. We quit being buddies. That's it.
I guarantee you, if Grant was here today, he'd walk in, shake your hand, and be no big deal to him.
Dude, I can FaceTime him still. He's still a client. He still sends me a lot of money every month. It's like he still sends me quite a bit. But when when we got started, he was training car salesmen, and that's all he was doing. Investing all the money into real estate. So he would have ended up, killer no matter what. But when I came along, I said, Grant, I know where customers want you on my platform. You go get that guy, give me a little piece for my niece, a little fraction of the action, a little tad for Brad, and I'll build it for you. And you go sell it to the whole car business and you'll make a fortune. So I closed him on that. So I paid for everything. He was just supposed to go sell. Well, he wasn't doing much of that. And so I had to like go down and say, what are you doing? So I kind of coached him through that in the beginning, helping him build it. And so it felt like, I deserved my little piece.
Yeah.
So when he decided he didn't want to keep giving me the same piece, it just stung a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's it. Like, but he didn't screw me. So at the end of the day, I mean, I like Grant. Grant's a cool dude. We used to be closer. I lost like 600 grand playing him backgammon, which was my wife's idea because Grant doesn't like to lose and he owed me. So I kept playing him when I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just ended it. My wife goes,
Wait, in one sitting, you lost 600 grand in backgammon.
no, it was over. It was over a couple of weeks or a month or couple months. We were playing for fun and we were just keeping track like that. So I beat him, he beat me. I beat him, he beat me. We never had to pay each other. It was just,
Yeah.
scores basically. And at one point, I owed him. And he said, nope, done playing. Give me my money. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? You got to keep playing. You can't just, he said, nope, give me my money. So again, another one of those, what I think freaking dick moves was. So I paid him his money. But at the end of the day, yeah, I lost 600 grand to him, but I had him for like 85,000. It was his birthday. I said, I'll tell you what, keep it. It's your birthday. And he said, nope, 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 nope. We're playing it back. That's what we do. We always play it back. You always get a chance to play it back and win it back. I'm like, okay. So he wanted to play some more is what he's saying. And he doesn't want it for his birthday. He wants to earn it back, play it back. So I was talking to my wife, but he got pissy. He does not like to lose. So he was getting a little pissy and I told my wife, and my wife goes, you think it's a good idea to bet with one of your top customers? If not at the time, I think he was the top customer. He's been one of the top the whole time. So I said, that's pretty smart. Yeah, actually, you're right. And so I just played loose for a while and started losing. And then now I'm down 60 grand. So I play him again and then I'm down 80 grand. I play him again and I'm down 100 grand. Well, it went back and forth for a while. We always played.
600 grand, you pay him one time, one check?
650, no.
Little payment plan?
A little freaking payment plan, dude. 650 in one check? Hell no. Not only that, it wasn't even supposed to be paid. We were supposed to play it off. So it was points, like how friends gamble. Bet you $1,000. Then you you owe me $1,000. I go, I know. I'll bet you $1,000 this, and then I win. You owe me 1,000. But hey, it was money and it was real, and he called it. So guess what?
You got paid.
I had to pay it.
Let's talk about dropping bombs because it always interests me. I listen to you, and you deal with a lot of different personalities. I mean, you deal with people that seem to be totally out of their minds at times when they're speaking. Then you deal with some of the most powerful people on the podcast. But you always seem to just, I don't use the word keep it real, but you definitely just keep it the way you see it, right? Can you talk to me about the different guests that come on? Because sometimes you gotta be sitting in that chair and be like, did this really just come out of this fucking guy's mouth? Like, is he really saying this? Or